Being a police officer means you will serve by protecting, right? Protecting the public and preventing crime and providing support for victims. It's a challenging but rewarding job in a sense where you get to see the direct impact of your work. As older folks would say, you get to see the fruits of your labor. Now, I want to make this clear. I don't mean in any way, shape, or form to put anyone down or discourage anyone. But this is a conversation that must be had. My intention here is to let you guys know what this job is really about. So, let's do this. Now, police officers need a wide range of skills in order to be effective, and they must have a desire to help people. Just wanting a job because it is financially beneficial is not enough. And so the first thing that I want to talk about is one of those essential skills, which is problem solving. Now, in this line of work, I believe one of the most important thing, right, is to be able to problem solve and talk to people. If you just go to work every day as a police officer and you don't give a damn about anyone else but yourself, and you don't want to help anyone, then this job is not for you. Don't get me wrong, there are times I myself don't feel like working, I don't feel like going on the road. But we all have a job to do. We all have those days and the job must go on. Now, to be effective in this line of work, you have to want to help people with their problems, right? People depend on the police to resolve whatever problem they may have, whatever problem that may arise, right? And they rely on us to be fair and unbiased in that regard. If you go to a call and you don't want to help people, they will see it in your actions and your attitude towards them. People already doesn't have much trust and confidence in the police, and so your selfish actions might be the straw that breaks the camel's back. In that people won't call the police for something more important because of the way you treated them when they were in need of your assistance. Now, guys, there will be times when you will get calls for the most ridiculous things, or the things that you might think are the most ridiculous. But you have to understand, people have a certain trust and expectations, right, in the police. And don't get me wrong, some people hate the police, they just want to see us dead. But for the most part, we have that grandma down the road who calls because her grandson has given her some problems. She is calling because she believes that you can get the job done. So regardless of how small or how big the thing is, you have to be able to problem solve to the best of your ability. And you have to be able to talk to these people and really give them a feel that you are feeling exactly where they are coming from, right? Even if you not feel nothing, you have to want to help people and make them feel safe. So, guys, you have to understand, right? Wanting to help people is like the number one thing in this job, next to safety. This helps to build trust between people and police. You have to want to go out there and be proactive. You have to want to go out there and get the guns and the criminals off the street. You have to want to go out there and investigate crimes. You have to want to go out there. You have to want to get in the street and to do what you have to do, right? If you really want to effect any positive change in the community that you are policing. Now, if you are not willing to help people out, if you are not willing to be an effective police officer, if you are not willing to put in the hard work, if it is just all about the money and what you can gain from policing, then nobody apply, right? This job is not for you. There is no substitute for hard work, and that is something that I genuinely believe in. Next, I want to talk about teamwork. Being a police officer is not all about kicking ass and running around being a one-man army. Don't get me wrong, there are times you are going to be by yourself, especially for those persons who do traffic duties, but for the most part, you will be working with others. Now, you're not going to like everyone you work with, and I am sure if you guys have careers and jobs, there may be somebody, right, at work you don't like, and you may even avoid that person. But when you are in the workplace and you are in a professional environment, especially being a police officer, where being professional, right, is a standard and is an expectation, you have to know, understand that you have to put aside those petty tendencies and those petty ways and get the job done. You don't have to love that person, you don't have to like that person, but you have to work together. Now you have to be willing to work well with other people, because believe it or not, right, working well with others actually gets the job done quicker and it gets the job done a lot better. Again, if you have officers that you don't get along with, you don't have to like them. You don't have to hang out with them, right? But for a job like this, getting the job done quickly, efficiently, and safely, right, are the most important things when you are out there in the field. Above all else, guys, the job comes first. As a police officer, you will be supported by your colleagues. Looking out for your fellow officers can make all the difference in a challenging situation. So if you don't work well with others, or you can't put away your differences to get the job done, then this job, right, is not for you. Now I want to talk about the ultimate risk police officers are exposed to. Now on television, it seems like cops are invincible and can dodge bullets and walk up to the bad guys and take them down, no problem, easy peasy. Yes, there is no simpler way to put this, guys, but in real life, you risk being injured or even killed on the job. There are no do-overs, there are no retakes. This is not a movie. This is not a Netflix series, right? Being a cop places you in a unique and more dangerous situation that no other job does. On a daily basis, officers go into circumstances that could get them injured or killed. They go on operations, right, to dismantle gangs and to recover firearms. They deal with fugitive apprehension and organized crime and violent crimes, right? We patrol the most volatile and acidic communities, and at times we are challenged by some of these people who want to see us dead. Police officers are the first responders to scenes of robbery, to scenes of shooting and murders. We don't know what we are going to be dealing with when we go out there, right? We don't know what we are dealing with when we respond to these situations. We don't know what the outcome is going to be when we put ourselves, right, in these life and death situations. But there's a job that must be done which no one else can do but the police. So if you are not prepared to take that risk, if you are not prepared to be selfless, to go out there and protect someone else's life at the possibility of the cost of your own, then let's be real, law enforcement is not the field I'd recommend you, right, to get into. Now guys, on the other hand, I want to talk about this as well because it is very important, because it is very real and it could happen to any officer in the world, right? There may be a point in your career where you may have to take someone's life. Not every police officer in the world is going to have to take someone's life, right? And I am hoping that it is not something that any police officer will have to do or experience in their career, but it's something that is very, very real, right? Especially here in Jamaica. It is something that is very possible. It is something that can happen every single time you put on that uniform and you go out there, right? So if that is something that you don't feel you can do, if that is something that you guys don't feel like you have the heart for, if that's something you honestly feel like you won't be able to live with, then this job is not for you, because it is very possible you may be faced with that kind of situation, and any hesitation may cost you your life and your colleague's life, right? So you have to think about these things. And the next I want to talk about overtime, guys. You have to be willing to stay for overtime if you want to join this job, if you want to be a police officer. And what do I mean by that? Now, if you're one of those persons, right, one of those people that don't like to stay 20 or 30 minutes after work, then you're going to have a serious problem being a police officer. Maybe you lock up somebody 20 minutes before your shift ends. Maybe somebody gets shot 5 minutes before your shift ends. You don't have a choice. You will have to stop, right? Probably you are engaged by criminal elements. Though you will not have a choice. You will have to stay after work 2 to 3 hours or even longer than that to deal with these arrests, to deal with these murder scenes, to deal with these shooting incidents, to deal with accidents. And you have to get those reports and those paperwork in. You are going to have to stay after work a lot of times in this job. After a long 12, 14 or even 16-hour shift, you just want to go home, but you have to come to the realization that there's a high possibility that you're gonna have to stay after work to get some things done, especially if you are doing your job, right? There will be a lot of overtime involved, and that is just the sacrifice that you will have to make. Becoming a police officer, guys, is a full-time job with very odd numbers of hours. No holidays off, family time will be affected. So you might want to sit your family down if you consider being a police officer and have this conversation about what your work schedule and whatnot is going to be like. But if you cherish family time and you want holidays and those things are much more important to you than the job, if you can't do overtime to get the report and the paperwork done, then you might want to reconsider choosing a career in law enforcement. And now I want to talk about one of those things that one of them things there, stress, guys. Stress. Being a cop pushes the stress level into the stratosphere. Cops work long erratic hours which wreaks havoc on you physically and mentally, and it can affect your relationships as well. Police officers are not the most highly paid individuals in the world, so the stress of making a living on a police officer's salary is another addition to the stress meter, right? Extended levels of stress can cause fatigue, depression, suicidal thoughts, or even aggressive behavior. At times, you might hear people say, "Boy, officer, leave your stress in your yard and not take it out for me." Guys, that is some real stuff, right? This job can be very stressful at times and it interferes with the job, right? But let's talk about one of those stressors, right? One of those things that really create stress on the mentals of police officers, and that is the salary. Most people think that being a police officer automatically means you have a lot of money lying around, which couldn't be further from the truth. Don't get me wrong, police officers are by no means the most highly paid individuals. Police officers in Jamaica are grossly underpaid, especially at the starting levels. These officers at the lowest rank doesn't earn 10% of what the commissioner of police earns per year. Let that sink in. The risk associated with this job and the compensation for taking that risk is subpar, for want of a better word. It's difficult financially for many police officers at the lower ranks, especially those deployed far away from home, right? Higher ranking officers are better compensated, right? But promotion is not a guaranteed in this job. Case in point, I know officers who have retired at the constable rank after serving for over 30 years. This is the reality, guys, and if it is something that you can't live with, then it is best that you look somewhere else for a better opportunity.